Don't you worry, the clip's about to begin, but don't forget to subscribe. Or else. Don't make me turn this website around.
So we do have another caller, also atheist, David from California, who would like to continue this discussion on religious debates and this scoring system. Hello, David.
Hey,
how you doing?
Well, thank you. I'm a first-time caller. You know what? I would just like to tag on to that last guy because I think that's awesome for an idea for scoring. And, you know, I've watched a lot of your videos, John. I've watched a lot of your videos, Matt, and Martin Debate as well. And I think you guys could seriously monetize on this by having a website where people like us who are watching you on YouTube instead have like an avatar, almost like a Texas Hold'em game, for example. You know, if you ever gone to online gambling where you have an avatar and you join a table and you're gambling against other people. But instead, we're in a room where we can debate each other, and where we hear an ad hominem or a fallacy, we can throw out a snowball at someone or put someone in the penalty box like a hockey player, you know, where in short, the audience can seriously judge whether the argument is fallacious or whether it's a good argument or not, and have some kind of interactive influence on the entire episode. So I just wanted to throw that out to you guys. The second point I wanted to make is today it's my son's 2-year birthday. My fiance is Catholic. And our fight right now is about whether he should be circumcised. And this is an insane fight I'm having right now. So any advice on that?
Let's talk about that, because I don't yet. The debate thing is I'm adding a new show to the network. And it's going to be about debates. It's going to be me debating, and we're looking at various things on format. So but you have a 2-year-old and you're wondering about circumcision. So how do the conversations go when you talk about it?
So, you know, so my wife is Filipina, and so it's a big deal for Catholics to have a circumcision. And for me, obviously, as an atheist, I tried to propose the idea that genital mutilation is a good idea at all. And for Filipinos, this is interesting. They get bullied when they're not circumcised. And so this is like stuck in her head that he's going to get bullied if he's not circumcised.
Well, I mean, first thing I would say is I don't think that he should be talking about his penis with other people. I guess I just don't see how that would organically come up in just a general conversation, other than somebody approaches you and asks, "Hey, you circumcised, bro?" And it's, you know, just don't talk about it. But as far as like the
or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but then it's kind of like, why are you staring at my junk? Not that it's wrong, but I mean, if they're Christian or something, that could be problematic for them, I guess. But in any case, as far as circumcision goes, there's really, as far as I understand it, there's no medical benefit to doing it. I mean, really, you just got to teach how to clean yourself properly, which I think any parent would teach their child to, you know, bathe properly.
Really not difficult to get someone with a penis to play with it in the shower and make sure it's clean. That's never been an issue in the entire history of humanity. Your 2-year-old isn't a Catholic. Right. Your 2-year-old is not a Catholic, even if your wife is. Nobody should be checking out your 2-year-old's penis but you and your wife. And this bullying that may happen later on is either A, about cultural views about the aesthetics of a penis. There are cultures where an uncut penis looks like some kind of freakish alien thing because that's all they've been introduced to. Hopefully we're changing that. But the other thing is that it's an in-group, out-group thing. And what if your kid does not ever want to be in group with Catholics or does not want to be in group with that. What is the problem with waiting until they are old enough to consider the subject and make up their own mind? There's no benefit to routine infant circumcision, and there's no benefit, there's no need for it at 2 years old. That's a medical necessity. And so it's the real reason for doing it early and at 2 and stuff is so they don't remember. Because I don't remember anything that happened when I was 2. But that's not a good reason to violate somebody's bodily autonomy. What if the trend was to cut off earlobes? Like, not just dangly ones like mine, but just to cut off earlobes straight. And then if you didn't get your earlobes cut, you were bullied at school. Would that be an argument for cutting off the earlobes of 2-year-olds?
No, absolutely not. I just think for me, you know, no matter what argument I come up with, no matter how logical, because of her culture, she just blocks it off. Like, and really kind of turns it against me as that I'm not willing to subscribe to traditions that her family has
maybe
had,
make compromises.
You know,
Go ahead and
for everybody that she knows.
Let her make a compromise saying, okay, you can teach our son about your religious views, and I will teach our son about my views on religion, but nobody is permanently altering this kid's body.
Yeah.
I won't tattoo a big Baphomet on his back.
I'm going to try, Matt. I'm trying my best, Matt.
Now, at the end of the day,
well, I'm just wondering.
It's difficult. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, it really is difficult when you're in an interfaith sort of situation there. I'm wondering, have you tried trying to put this in a different context for her, one that personally affects her? Have you thought about like Matt did with the earlobes? Like, would you cut off your son's earlobes if that was the thing? Have you tried doing that, but making her the subject of it? Seeing how she would feel about it, having that kind of bodily autonomy taken away from her. I mean, that might not work because if she's really deep into the faith, it may not matter because of her faith. She might so hopelessly believe in it that she wants to have it done. There's a few other things that you could bring up. You could bring up the medical mistakes that could happen due to circumcision, because those do happen, and it can be very detrimental for the person who gets the circumcision and it goes wrong. There's that route. There's also the route of the fact that prior to I want to say it was the early 20th century, circumcision for Christians just wasn't a thing. It only developed because the thinking was at the time, at least as far as I know, the thinking at the time was if you circumcise them, then they won't play with their dicks. And that's just obviously not true. So, I mean, I don't know. I know that you say that no matter what logical case that you make against circumcision, she's still pretty hard up about circumcision. But I know if it were me, if I were in your position, I would still continue to try to talk some sense, bringing up all of these different problems that surround the whole idea of circumcision. Because there are some like religious communities, I can't remember exactly where in the world, but I think it really exists in the Muslim faith, where they do perform female genital mutilation. And I mean, you could potentially bring that up as like a comparative thing. I'm trying to pull a little bit from street epistemology, trying to put the person in a different position that's outside of their faith so that they can try to critically think about it and then, sort of reapply that thought process to whatever they were doing. And I think that...
Oh, sorry. Somebody in chat recommended that you have her watch a video on the actual process. And while I'm generally opposed to a mere emotional plea, that's something. I will say, David, so I'm circumcised and I'm still pissed about it. And I don't understand a society that removes the most sensitive portion of the penis. I mean, the nerve endings are there is just gone. And whenever I have a performance issue or whatever else, I have to go back in my head. Would this have happened had I still had foreskin or whatever else? Having those kind of conversations, like, would she have married you if you were uncircumcised? I'm assuming you are. Otherwise, you guys would have had this conversation ages ago.
I am. Yeah, probably not. And you know what? I think about that as well. Like, honestly, what I think about is, I was a Christian for 40 years. I'm 50 now. So I was a Christian for 40 years. And even when this subject came up, about the ethics of circumcision, to me, honestly, I didn't honestly think it was a big deal, because in my mind, I always grew up thinking that it was medically better for me to be circumcised, and even aesthetically, I thought that would probably be better for me. So both those things in my head are still in my head at this point. So when I'm having this conversation that I know now is like, hey, we should give humans the choice to have this thing done to them, which it's taken me a long time to realize that point. In the back of my head, at the same time, I'm going, well, you know what? I'm circumcised and I'm perfectly fine, and yep, I think I aesthetically look better with my junk.
But that's because that's what you're used to. Everybody likes, well, hopefully everybody, well, all right, that's not true. I have to back up. By and large, if you have a penis, you're used to the way it looks. And to you, it looks normal. And the thing is, we now live in a society where an altered penis now looks more normal than an unaltered one. And it would be like living in a world where, it would look abnormal for you to have ears that weren't, cut off at the lobe or whatever else. It's so strange that this religious activity has become so, like, it's the standard. We're just going to routinely circumcise, anybody born with a penis. And it becomes normal. You want to talk about the bullying that happens, let's say, when we're all in the showers after gym class or whatever else. First of all, I don't know why you're checking me out, but I do, because we're curious, and that's always going to happen. And it's like, oh, is mine big enough? Is it too big? I had that problem forever. I just had to wonder if it was just too big. I suffered my whole life wondering if it was just too big, and if it was maybe, oh wait, no, I'm having fun to try to get a laugh. And John's just kind of like, hang on, what's that mean? But you're used to what you're used to.
I have to laugh at that, Matt, because I was thinking I was always too small. So I appreciate that.
The answer to both is no. But it's strange. You gotta, first of all, I don't envy your situation. You're definitely going to have a conversation with your wife. And the thing is, you're going to have to figure out where there's going to be a compromise and where there's not. Now, it's unusual for me to hear from people trying to do it to a 2-year-old. It either happened within the first, week, which would be Jewish tradition, or it's significantly later. So I don't envy the position you're in, but you're going to have a conversation. And one of the things that you may have to talk about is, while you view your penis a certain way and feel it's normal, the same is true for people who are uncircumcised and aren't exposed to other people who've been altered.
All right. No, she, my son even has a cousin now who's 9 years old, and he still hasn't been circumcised, but, his parents still want to do it. And I think they haven't done it just because of like financial reasons, and they're in the Philippines and they're poor. So they haven't done it because of financial reasons, but he's already almost 9. And so we've definitely had this discussion where I'm just kind of like, you know what? I just think that we should wait till he can make that choice. But to her, she is really stuck on the fact that that kids in the Philippines make fun of this thing, and so it's just like forbidden for him to not be circumcised. So
maybe a good case to make.
I appreciate it.
Maybe, thanks, David. Maybe a good case to make is, should we be permanently altering someone's body based on whether or not other people are likely to make fun of it?
Yep. I agree, guys.
Well, thank you for calling in,
we'll let you
David.
go.
I
Thank
really
you for
appreciated the
taking my call.
conversation.
Yeah, thanks, David.
No
Hey,
problem.
John, I just want to say half my family is from Alabama. Whenever I watch your show, I'm amazed to see anybody in Alabama as an atheist. It's an anomaly for me, so I appreciate it.
Yes, the asshole of the Bible Belt's definitely a weird place for an atheist.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Well,
Good night.
That might have been close
thank
to a
you,
giggle.
David. I hope you have a good night.
Okay, appreciate it.
John, have you always been in Alabama?
Yes, like my entire life. The only time that I've moved, the only time that I've moved is I moved from North Alabama to Mobile, and for like 6 months, and then I moved back. And so, I mean, it's I can't get away from North Alabama.
So you're not too far from like Chattanooga and stuff.
No, I mean, I'm only about maybe 4 hours from Chattanooga. Actually, during the pandemic, what we've done, we're not too far from Chattanooga. What we've actually done to try to get away from like just being caught up in the house all the time during this whole pandemic thing is we'll actually go up to like Chattanooga, Sevierville, and all that, and they've got cabins that you can rent out there. We'll actually go up there, rent a cabin, and just stay secluded up there for a bit, and it's a nice reprieve from being in the apartment all the time.
Yeah, I love it up there. I love the mountains in general, but Sevierville gets a little. Sevierville's like Branson in that they're both absolutely redneck, absolutely conservative, and yet they do fun shows and stuff. And so I don't mind going to Branson or Sevierville, either one. But every time I ended up going to Chattanooga, you've got to dip down through like into Georgia. And so I figure if you're North Alabama, you can't be too awful far from it, but you might be that away or that away. I can't even point. It reverses it for me.
Yeah, we're a little over 2 hours away from it, apparently, according to my wife. So yeah.
Well, don't disagree with her.
Our next. No, definitely not.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.